Welcome to Find Your Fuze, the podcast and community for women who know they're meant for more.
We're your hosts, Brooke and Kelly, two founders, two entrepreneurs, and two best friends who are figuring it out just like you. Because if you have found that success is anything but a straight line, then you're in the right place.
Join us each week as we go through all things business and all things real life.
We're going to bring you along for the highs, the lows, and everything in between.
Grab your drink, get comfy, and get ready for a chat with your new best friends.
Let's like this shit.
Hey, welcome back to another amazing episode of the Find Your Fuze podcast. Today we are beyond freaking blessed to have Kelsey with us, and we cannot wait to jump into her story, how she juggles all the things, and also how she's a Christmas elf.
Legitimately real life Christmas elf. It's
my favorite thing. I think it's incredible. It's like a superpower. You get to hang out with Santa. It's a whole thing. But welcome, right? But Kelsey is also on the West Coast with me, which is fun. So we get to at least share the same, time. Unlike Brooke, who obviously is way over on the other side of the coast.
3 hours behind me, guys. Catch up.
Exactly. But we're really excited to have Kelsey. We've met her in person. She's come to an event of ours, and that was such a blessing to meet her and hug her in person, and also just to get to know Kelsey a little bit better. So I'm excited for all of you guys to know Kelsey, just like we do. Hi, Kelsey.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here. Always fun to talk with you too. So, and then now especially with the elf angle.
Exactly. It's my favorite. Also, it's just like so special. Like not everyone gets to say that. You get to actually say that. I think it's pretty amazing.
I probably should change the title of what I do around this time of year.
Instead of chief gifter, you're chief elf.
Elf?
Something? No. Yeah, something like that.
Maybe.
CEO, chief elf operator or something? I don't know.
Command all the elves.
Chief elf operator. That would be really cute.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll work on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So before we dive into the episode, because we definitely want to ask all of the things around what you do, your business, letting everyone know how they can work with you and how gifts can really change a business for the better, whether it's gifting to an employee or a colleague. We're going to get into all of that fun stuff. But can you give us and anyone listening a precursor about who you are, what Simplified Gifting is, and just like a little context about you before we dive into the rest of the topic of the episode?
I would love to. So my name is Kelsey. Normally most months of the year, I'm the chief gifter, but currently we'll go with chief elf operator. My business is Simplified Gifting, which I try to bring the title of my business into the everyday of what I do by making gifts simplified. So whether that's if people want to have a customized gifts for team members, employees, contractors, partners, just anyone that you work with, because there's so many different types of people you work with. So I work with business owners mostly specifically to curate a very thoughtful and intentional gift to give them, and it's so neat to see the results of that because of how it affects just ROI, just the investment that they have seen through that impacts relationships, it differentiates them and the services or products that they provide. And so it's just really neat implementing gifts as a strategy into businesses instead of just gifts are expensive, I want to not spend money on it, but just educating my clients on how it really is an investment in the relationship and that people connection. And it's just so fun from the why are you giving the gift and how can we integrate that with your brand and with your message and making them feel special and seen and just appreciated, and then just seeing the impact that can have on so many things. So it's a little precursor of what my business does and how and who I love to help. And
I love that. And how did we get here? How did we get to gifting?
You stole the question out of my mouth. It's one of my favorite stories of hers.
Well, it all started, I've had a background of hospitality and a lot of event planning, which I still do lots of that here and there. But I was working in a hotel and this guest was like, oh, I need VIP gift bags for this group coming in. And when you work in hotels, you can't really say no to people, but it was sure, I can absolutely do that. And I remember thinking, I wish there was a company that I could call to be I need these VIP amenities on this date. Here's the budget. Make it happen. Then with life, I had an idea and I was oh, I should do this. But I didn't have a chance to make it happen. And then 3 years later, someone else was do you have customized welcome bags for this group coming in for a wedding? And I was there it is again. Because I feel most problems or most businesses, you have a real business if it's solving a problem and that people are willing to pay money to solve that problem. So I was I've been hearing this as in a role I was working in the front office. role in a hotel, and then I ended up working with sales and catering is all. So I was like, it's coming in from different angles. So I was like, I feel like this is a need. So I was like, if I start this business now, by the time I have kids, then I could do the business, do the mama thing, do it all, which is always interesting. The true definition of how do it all works for people very differently. So that was the dream. So I started the business and doing welcome bags. And then when a small life alternating event happened in 2020, I was like, well, events aren't happening in hotels. I can't really do customized welcome bags. How about we pivot and ship to shipping to gifts? And that just and then I had gone to that, which then started Simplified Gifting, because I was like, how neat is it, like during a time in the world when people are feeling very disconnected, like how you can send a gift, whether small or just however size, and it's just like, I'm thinking of you, I miss you, I see you, just kind of adding that personal touch. And then that evolved to, like, I could do this with businesses, like add their branding colors, their elements, like at what point would they need a gift, whether it's like onboarding a new employee to celebrating a milestone with a client for working together. And I was like, this is fun. And then just after like research and looking into it and just seeing like the business case for how gifts can truly help a business owner. And it's not just an expense, but it truly is an investment in how it can help with the big picture things such as like marketing, advertising, and then just like client relation and like differentiation. And I was like, wow, this is going to be like the secret weapon to like, I'm going to send you something tangible so that you can remember what we did together or just as a thank you. And so that kind of just turned into a snowball, which I loved. And then at one point I was working with 17 different industries at one point. And it was just so fun of like, it doesn't just apply to one industry, whether it's like service-based, product-based, even like knowledge-based, as someone who's like some type of coach or, yeah. So it's just been so fun how this concept of gifts can apply to so many people. And it's just fun. I love having gift consultation calls with people just to be like, if they're saying, gifts are too complicated, it takes too much time, I have no idea if it would work, and they're expensive. And so I'm like, well, let me debunk all those myths and I just show you that it is possible and it can be fun in the process, and it can, and we'll just see how it has an impact.
I adore.
Love this.
I adore. Like, it's so led. Like, it was literally like given to you over, like literally gifted to you over and over and over again until you're like, okay, fine. This is what I'm going to do. This is how I can serve people. And I think that's beautiful. I think there are some entrepreneurs out there that are listening that are like, same thing happened to me. Like, I was smacked over the head with it. So I love that. I love that journey for you.
And then fast forward to now, where I have a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old, and my 7-year-old helps me in my business. Well, she'll like build the boxes and like put the items. And I also homeschool, so I will integrate like educational elements about like profit and product costs, and like, okay, put these in and help with like math and fractions. And it's just fun, the educational side, while teaching like business elements, while doing like checking things off, like, okay, make boxes and do homeschooling today, all in the same thing.
I love it.
I love that. Actually leads so perfectly into the duality section of our episode this time, because as anyone knows who listens, we always have a duality section because there's so much joy and sorrow that happens at the same time. That is life, and Instagram is a highlight reel, and we want to help fight that and allow more business owners to come forward with what's working really well for them right now and what isn't, because one, someone listening may have a solution for you, and two, we can all just feel less alone. So our duality question actually taps into the motherhood piece. You are a woman doing all of it, which I know is a story that so many women carry, and it's impressive as hell. It's impressive as hell. So what's something about motherhood or business that feels lighter now than you thought it would? Because you are juggling it all, like homeschooling, kids, running a business, being a wife, having time to be Kelsey. What's going lighter or easier right now than you thought it would on the happy side of duality?
The happy side is I always think like, okay, I wanted to have a business and I have it. So I'm super thankful for that. I wanted to have kids and I have them. So I'm super thankful for that. Homeschooling just really works well for my family and just like where my kiddos are at. And I was like, so I'm super thankful for that. So when people are like, oh my gosh, how do you do it all? You have so much going on. I was like, well, I feel blessed that I do have all of these like big elements on my plate. And so then just like the realistic side of how do I handle it all? And I feel like just giving myself grace of like, I can't always be 100% in each category, and just kind of realizing the season of life and like when certain things have more of a demand than others. And like, how can you keep all the plates in the air, but in a way that I'm not like drop on the floor asleep like really early in the day because I don't have time for that. So I feel like the part that's seemed lighter just over the years and just kind of getting used to handling all the things is just figure out how to do what I need to in that moment and not putting the pressure on myself to do like thrive in all areas that I'm being pulled in at once. Because I've realized it's not realistic. You don't get the best results when that happens. And then I don't really have much wiggle room or like breather room for myself, which often happens, but I'm so trying to find a rhythm that makes it so that I do have some space to breathe while also thriving in the areas needed. And I've also realized too, if I'm able to combine things where like, okay, I need to pack boxes, but I need to tie in some school and like what's like a real life skill that I could teach, making this a teaching moment. So then I'm able to do like homeschool and business at the same time. And so it was really fun. Like last year around Christmas, I was needing to pack boxes, but I was like, oh no, I want to do something like festive and school. So I was like, well, make Christmas like sugar cookies to then decorate them. And then also like just making those, it just turned into practicing math, but also festive. So I feel like
Science, kind of.
well, yeah, absolutely science too. So that part's fun too of just like, how can I turn this moment into a teaching moment, which helps with the homeschool element and just makes it fun. And I think just combining things of like, how do I do all these things, but what two can I do together that makes sense? And that just helps so much with helps lighten the load. And then just like, okay, I do that. Now what's the next thing? Yeah, it's a lot, but I love it. And it's working very well in this season. And like right now going into my busiest season of the year for my business and how can I ask for help, which I'm not ashamed to ask for help at all. It's like, can you help me with my kids? Can you help me pack gifts? And I'm just very thankful that I have people in my life who are very helpful. And so I'm definitely not the kind of be like, oh, I can't ask for help because people might think that I am less than or like not capable of doing things. But I think it's just a myth or like a restriction that people put in their lives. It's like, well, just try it. And if they say no, then you're no better off.
Yeah.
But if they say yes, then you just like, it's like opened a new path in Candyland or something where it's like, oh, now I can do all of this.
The other thing that I really loved about everything you were just saying too is all the teaching moments that you get to bring in to kind of make homeschool and work happen at the same time. But also your kids are getting to see their mom be a badass, run a business, and like do the dang thing and do the path less traveled because entrepreneurship isn't the common like path for people because it's hard and it's a lot of work and you're wearing a million hats and not everyone can do it. So I think it's really cool that your kids are going to get to grow up helping you in it, but getting to see you in it. And like, it's just going to allow them to have that moment of, I can do whatever I want. Cause like I watched mom do that my whole childhood. And that's cool.
Even like homeschooling and you pulling in different aspects, not just like, well, this is the 3 things that is part of the curriculum that I have to teach you. You're like making it fun and relevant and helpful. You're like the, multitasking queen over there. I think that's incredible.
There's always days where it's like, I did not get as much done as I needed to, but that's where grace comes in. You just have to be kind to yourself and not be so hard to like put all the pressure. And I think too, just like back to Brooke's question about like what has made the journey or like made it a lighter aspect of it. I think too, just like realizing in business, you're not really competing with other people in the sense that like you're creating your own path of like, if I don't post a certain amount of time on social media or email, it's like, it's only hurting me. It's not like, oh no, now my competitors are going to like take over and I'm going to lose my business. But it's like, just like realizing that like I am creating these goals for myself. So if I don't reach them, like what can I do to pivot and like what can I change to then reach that goal and like just make things happen and like in the kind of always moving forward. But I think just realizing like I do have the opportunity to like create this journey with all the things on it. And so how to place things in a way that makes sense for all the things, like for business and for life.
Totally. So in the season of duality, obviously that was the lighter question. Is there something that you still just don't have figured out that you're like, I wish at this point I would have had this figured out, or maybe just, this is my goal for the end of 2025. I haven't hit it yet, but I will. Like, is there something like that you're like, I'm not there yet? but
Yeah, I would say I've been trying to put a lot of ducks in a row as far as like getting better at the business things, as far as like emailing consistently, posting consistently. And like sometimes the results are not there from like what I hoped it would be, but it's just like, well, just kind of like pushing through the disappointment and like kind of like the, oh, I wish things were here, but they're not. So I think that part can be very heavy and kind of like lead to the what am I doing wrong? But it's just kind of like just because you do everything you're supposed to do, that doesn't mean that everything's gonna come and it's gonna work out perfectly and you're gonna have a ton of sales, but just kind of like being realistic and like continuing to put in the work even if it's hard and like even if you're not seeing immediate results. Cause like the whole I always kind of go back to you don't know what seeds that you're planting or like what's gonna come of what you're continuing to do. But so I just try to think like gotta keep planting, gotta keep watering, gotta like do what I can because I can't control everything, but I can control how I respond to disappointment and how I push through that disappointment. So I feel like even when things are more like, yeah, not going the way or kind of like if the goals have to change just because they're not happening. But I have one little goal that I had a scratch off map of the United States to like scratch off every time I ship.
saw that. Yeah, I love that.
And I've tried to put it in stories, like bring along the journey of like, oh, I just shipped to these 5 states. And it's like, okay, I'm going to try to ship to all 50 states by the end of the year. So it's like, well, I have shipped to these states before I started keeping track. So like, that's just kind of like a little goal where like, could I count them? But like, we'll see. But like, if it doesn't happen, I mean, it would be exciting if it does. But if it doesn't, then it's like, okay, that's not like a crucial goal that like has to happen. It's just one of those like fun and would be nice. And so we'll see if it happens.
Kind of like gamifies things a little bit, which I think adds just a fun energy to where everything isn't always so serious. And I just really want to shine a light on your statement of pushing through the disappointment because I just really loved that. It's so simple, but it's so true and it's so hard. But there is not an entrepreneur on this planet, honestly, a human on this planet, but like we'll stay in the vein of business owners since that's kind of the combo here. There's not a business owner on this planet who hasn't had a disappointing moment or thought, a post would go over better or an email campaign or a launch or a client experience or, insert a product, like insert whatever your experience was. Like that disappointment is something everyone's going to experience in business. And if you haven't yet, I don't mean to be negative, but you'll have your day. But on the other side of that disappointment is whatever lessons you learned from it, the seeds that you planted, just like you said, and like you are getting closer to your yes. Like that your yes is there, but you just have to get through these harder moments. So I just pushing through the disappointment is a very simple and beautiful way to put that, and a great skill to have. Just keep going.
Totally. Totally. It's the no, I was going to say in general, it's just the duality of life, right? That's why we always have this question is like, there can be sorrowful times in the middle of joy. That happens. We're humans and multifaceted and have so much going on at one time. So I love that you're like, you know what? If I don't get it, that's okay. But hey, you came on the journey with me and I made it to 30. Like, how cool is that, right? It's like you got to make it to X amount, even if it wasn't your end. I think that's a beautiful way to think about it. And I hope other entrepreneurs are listening to that because we get to wake up every morning and be badass boss babes every day. And some people aren't like that. You get to wake up and homeschool your kiddos. And I'm sure there are a lot of moms that wish that they could and they can't. And so that's a really different way to think about it. And it's such a positive thing and reinforcement that everyone needs to hear. So I'm glad we started the episode really on like that kind of note. So thank you.
I love too the image that people say like a goal is kind of like putting in a destination in Waze or GPS is kind of like that's giving you direction of what you're working towards. But sometimes your route changes and it doesn't mean like that you're a failure. It's just kind of like having that understanding of what's right now in the season that you're in and how can you best get to the destination even if you have to make a few more turns. It might be a U-turn, but you'll end up where you have to go eventually. But I feel like too on the note of like just being positive and not letting like, oh no, this didn't go the way and like not like dwelling in that frustration. I feel like in just like teaching moments, I've tried to communicate to my daughter just how like, oh, this one little thing happened today that made your day really hard, but and I'll be like, what happened today that went well? So like I'll ask her and then she'll say like certain things. I'm like, see, all those good things happen. So you can't dwell on like this one bad thing that you're feeling really sad about. And it's like it's okay to be sad and like have that emotion, but it's also like you want to work through and not let that like take over and define like this whole day or in business world, like this whole launch or this whole campaign is a bust. But it's like look for the silver lining. So I feel like if I'm going to teach that to her, I need to also apply it to my life.
Yes.
It's all mapping. It's all showing like, okay, if I'm going to say that I live this way, I need to live this way. And it honestly makes your life easier at the end of the day, even though some days it's harder than others.
Yeah. And I think realize that some days will be harder than others. Not everything will go right, but things will go right. And just what you focus on and your perspective makes such a big difference.
It manifests more too.
Amazing. Amazing.
Okay, so we are so excited to really start diving into the conversation around gifting because we are on October 2nd when we're recording this with you, but everyone listening, like this isn't coming out until end of October, but like we are into the holiday season officially. Kelly is currently drinking out of a Nightmare Before Christmas mug because we are both such huge like Halloween people. So like I refuse to skip Halloween and spooky season, but it would be remiss to not admit that like it is time to start planning the Christmas season right now, if not like yesterday. So let's dive into that, like gifting and gifting in business and how gifting can actually be such a big strategy in business, especially going into this time of year. What is your take on that? I know you kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but
So many directions. So yeah, in honor of it being October and like yesterday being October 1st, I officially launched my holiday gift guide, which also tried to make your gifting and like shopping and just kind of knowing what the options are simplified. And then just giving you the options and then kind of just like walking you through like if you don't like it, here's your like pre-curated options, but you also can create your own so that you can meet your like budget and brand and message and all those things. And then of course being your chief elf, I always like walk alongside to make sure that all the details are taken care of. But I was thinking yesterday on October 1st and I was like, first, like why are you all now so excited about holiday gift guide? And I'm like, but you don't realize all that has to go into it to make the gifts happen. And since I like business owners are my target audience for like, I really want to help and serve business owners use gifts as a strategic way to connect and show appreciation to their clients or employees. You got to start earlier because Q4 or like, well, really any time of the year isn't really known for like, oh, I'll just sit back and drink eggnog and go look at
Lovely.
yeah, doesn't it sound lovely? But realistically, who has time for that? So my goal in wanting to serve business owners is to like try to get them to think about it earlier because realistically you have to think about like lead times for ordering the product, the times for like because I do like customization and branded items, like I need time for that. And then throw in Thanksgiving in the mix. And then I always ship the first full week of December just to make sure that like gifts get there and like they're not like lost amongst all the gifts that might happen later in December. So I feel like just with my timeline and just how I've thought through that as far as like deadlines that I then have with vendors that I work with, like it all has to come together like a very complicated puzzle, which is why I start October 1st, like talking about it and just trying to have those conversations with business owners so that like maybe even by the end of the month, like spooky where gifts don't have to be spooky on Halloween because you already might have it taken care of off of your to-do list. And then it's nice being able to be like a gifting thought partner that goes alongside you with gifts. So then you can mark it off your to-do list and it doesn't have to be a stress because you did think about it October, November instead of December 15th.
Mm-hmm. And Kelly and I kind of talked about it recently too. Like there is also just something about like if you take care of all of this planning that like needs to happen for a successful last month of the year, you can be more present with your family for December. And that's what we all want. We all want to be able to just like take off and be with the loved ones and eat Christmas cookies and do all of these things. So I think that's a big thing.
Yeah. It's like, I love doing it earlier too, because it just, yeah, when you know it's something you want to do, like people would think, oh, 'tis the time to give gifts to clients. Why not think about it a little bit earlier? And especially that's where I can hopefully be like the little reminder of like, hey, you remember me? I've been in your inbox. When I say, oh, and then say you need help and then I'm here for you. So I just feel like, yeah, if you know you have to do it and you get it done early, you'll just have that sigh of relief and feel like, oh, they're done. How exciting. Now you can enjoy, yeah, because enjoying the season. Or you can get to all the other things pulling at you and gifts don't have to be on your things to stress about.
Totally. So you had mentioned how you had already, like it is, early October right now and you've launched your gift guide. Just tell the people what the gift guide is. What does it look like? Why do they need one? How can they use it? Like just love on the gift guide for a minute.
So the gift guide, it is structured in a way to make it so that you not only helps you think of who do I need to give gifts to? Because that's also a big part of like, who have you had good connections with? Who do you want to show appreciation? Who do you want to just like and also I feel like what something that Kelly, you had mentioned about like just like the joy and sorrow, but like the joy in this season of like, who do you want to like spread joy to and like send a box of joy that, like unexpected. It's really fun too when it's unexpected because then it's just like, oh, they thought of me. How special. So I feel like part of it is just trying to think through who is it for. And then also when I'm curating the gifts and all the different variety, I try to think like, would this gift work for someone? Like if you feel, let's say you have someone who's like, oh, I feel like they already have everything they want, or they'll just buy what they want anyway. Or it's like, oh, this is like a family with kids, but I don't know what to, like maybe it's someone who doesn't have kids and they have no idea what kids would want. So I have like two that are more like very festive and like, this is the season, and just kind of like has items to make it so that it's an experience and that they can use it. So I always try to think of like, who's the gift recipient and like, how would they enjoy this gift? And then I think about my client who's the gift giver and like, how can they have a touch of branding in it, whether like it's a color, like their logo on a journal, and like, who can they give that to where it would be well received? And then I always include like handwritten notes from the business owner to whoever they're giving it to. So the purpose of the guide is just to show options that it can be simplified, like and truly to take away the stress. And then after you see all the fun options for families, the client who has everything, the team member who needs relaxation in their life, because I have some relaxation themes. So after that, I have what I call the gift builder, where it's like, this is really where you can bring in, it's like, I only want to do this kind of gift, or I have this much money, and like, how can have a big impact with like the budget, and like it can go far, because it's kind of contradictory for me to say this, but like you don't have to spend a lot of money on a gift for it to be impactful. Like, of course you can, and I welcome anyone to spend lots of money on gifts and send it to so many people, but it's just so neat how the impact of a small gift, because it does just have the feeling that you can convey in sending the gifts, like that's something that just, it's a tangible element of you giving a gift to them, and it just makes it memorable. And I feel like the more like joy and good things that you can share in the world is always good. And in this case, it just has the tangible representation of a gift. So that's the purpose of the guide, is just to help give you ideas, help you think of who do you need to give a gift to. And then also just like my goal, hopefully when people are reading it, they're thinking, I don't have to do this alone. Like, it's not so hard. Like, but if it is hard, I can reach out to Kelsey and she will help like ask the right questions that then make you realize it is doable and I don't have to spend thousands of dollars.
Which is really awesome. I've used Kelsey many times before Brooke and I were together. One of my favorite things is like, I was able to go to Kelsey and be like, I want all of these things. And then she's like, okay, that'll be X. And I'm like, never mind, take some of it out, but still make it impactful. And she did. And I think using someone like Kelsey in this season where you're already stressed, like she said, and you're already just like doing a zillion things because it is Q4 and you have your own goals, you still want to love on people. Don't turn to Amazon, like turn to Kelsey. And I'm sure Amazon is not like a competitor of yours, but I'm sure people just assume that your job can be done overnight, like Amazon does things, right? Like we live in an Amazon life right now where
Like
you want something, you can get it tomorrow. Yeah. Everything is just instantaneous. So I love that you're talking about it early because you know that the gifts that you're curating are not just something for Amazon. It's something that can be customized. So much love can go into it. So thank you for sharing that. And thank you for just being like, this is my target. Dang it. And I want to serve them. Dang it. And it is October, so get your gifts done. Dang it.
And one thing, I was going to say, one thing I'll say too that you do that Amazon cannot do is you ship for people, which as a business owner with way too many things on our to-do list, that is like huge for me. Like not having to, okay, cool, I could Amazon everything to my house cheap. Great. But then packaging everything and slugging it to the post office in New York City. I don't have a car, I'm carrying it all and having to get it all shipped. Like the weight off of shoulders to have someone who can, one, still take care of all the ordering for you, curate it to where it's better than anything you were going to find on Amazon, and take care of getting it to your people, magical. And when you're a business owner with a million things on your to-do list, delegation is so important. Decision fatigue is real. So like, let go some of these things that you don't need to do when someone is a professional at this and can handle it way faster than you can.
Yeah, which I love that. Good. Very good at like pointing out the pain points. Like those are like the very minor I mean, they're not minor because they're a big thing. Like how the heck am I going to get all these to the post office now that I'm super thoughtful and sending all these gifts? Like that's just one more thing to do. Or like if it's a fragile item, like, oh, how am I going to pack this so that it actually arrives as a tumbler and not a pile of glass. So it was fun back to Kelly's like initial first consultation when we first met. And she was like, I want gifts to add like the wow factor and differentiate. And then also add like a little touch of Kelly, which at that point included a lot of coffee. So she said all these things. And it was so cute. Later, she was like, I have no idea how much it's going to cost, but it all just sounds so wonderful. So I kind of like showed her the price point of like, here's everything you want. And then she just realized, that won't work. But what can we do to still create a brand that says this is from Kelly? And it was so great too, because it was like an experience where like it smelled like coffee because it had coffee beans in it, and it still had like very useful items people to enjoy and consume and like very thoughtful. So I feel like it had still had all those touch points, but then at a price that works for Kelly in that moment. So I feel like that's the part that I enjoy, is like the back and forth of creating a thoughtful, intentional gift that the gift recipient will enjoy and use. And then also, yeah, so I will go back and forth just to add that level of flexibility of me working with business owners, because also I want to make sure that what you're sending to people, that you're excited about it and not like, I have to send them this item because it was the only option that I could find on your gifting website. So I like adding that level of customization and kind of like a concierge level of like, I can meet your budget and include your branding, and let's make it exciting, make the gift that was perfect for you to send.
And it did. And it was. And so many of my past clients and colleagues loved it, because the first thing that happened is they opened the box, they smelled the coffee, and they're like, oh, it's from Kelly. Yeah, Brooke got one.
It was incredible. I literally opened it because I wasn't expecting it in the mail, and I was like, coffee, and like immediately thought of you before I even read the card or like saw the logo. Like the smell was the first thing that hit me, which I know was by design. Something that I would really love. So like, good job to both of you on that. But something that I would really love to point out in this entire conversation, because you said it a couple times too, is like sending gifts that are branded and are so representative of you and your brand, but still of some sort of value to the person receiving. Because I am obsessed with brand design. That is no secret. Kelly and I do it at the agency all the time, and that is my favorite thing on the planet. And if I could print my logo on my forehead and everything I own, I totally would. But the reality is, your logo is only as fun and exciting and important to you as it is to you. Every other person is more excited about their own. You know what I mean? Especially if you have like a business to business relationship or whatever it may be. So chat with us about your take, because I know I have some ideas on too, on creating branded gifts that represent the brand and the business, while also being of use and value to the receiver. So they're not just like, yay, here's another t-shirt with the team logo on it. Thanks, Dan.
Such a fun topic to talk about. And I love the like variety of businesses that I work with, and just kind of like how they want to include their logo. And that's just where like, I feel like in previous melding of the mind, great conversations with the both of you about like just marketing and like the experience connected with just like the brand, and then just like how can you have like just what creates the brand. And I feel like the part that I love about gifts is that it can bring the brand to life, whether it's in colors or the logo and just like, or things that the service provides. So like, for example, one of my clients, it's so fun because she's used my gifting services in so many different ways that she's such a good like example of like, oh, do you need to send thank you gifts to referrals? But she's a wedding planner, so it's like, oh, do you want to introduce your services to venues local in your area so that you can get on their preferred vendor list? So just like from a way to market herself to businesses as opposed to couples hiring her. So just integrating her logo and her colors, which very much like beautiful like whites and pinks and golds. So I would include that in the packaging from like the look. So like the first time they open a gift, they know that it's from her just from how it looks. And then she would always send a congratulations gift to her couples like a month after they get married, which I feel like the timeliness of a gift helps so much, because it's like, well, don't send it a week after because they're probably still recovering. I feel like a lot of people get sick after their wedding because there's just like such a high and then whoosh. So like they'll be like how they're health wise, or if they go on a honeymoon, like you never know.
They'll go somewhere, like living their best life.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't want to be like, did you get the gift? But so I feel like the timeliness of doing it a month later. And then I've even also included like a wedding picture and put it in a frame and like engraved it with like their names and the yeah. So it's just so fun adding and then also adding the time to do that. Because again, I'm not Amazon. I can't be like, oh, here's that customize everything branded with pictures and personalization in 2 days. So yeah, so it's fun. So I'll like include things in that box that are like in the colors, and then also like what's applicable in their new season now that they're married. So I've included like date night ideas, or like an engraved cutting board with their name and wedding date on it with like cheese and a cheese knife. So it's just like something for them to do together. And I had one where it was like a scratch off of like date ideas for the whole year with like the same month of their anniversary of like happy anniversary. So I've done all those like in her colors and all like just things that will make her think like, so if they're using the cutting board, then they think this is from our wedding planner. And then that's just like another touch point where then if it's like a tangible thing that they're using, and if someone says, where'd you get your adorable cutting board that has your new last name engraved and your wedding date, then that's just another talking point where they can say like, oh, from our wedding planner, she was so great. And if they happen to be engaged, what are the likelihood of them saying, you should work with her, here's her contact information, she's amazing, then that just shows the smart investment of gifts, because then that could lead to more business, and it just shows her that it's a good ROI. So it's so fun how the whole cycle of like including the branding, but tasteful elements so that it's useful, consumable, and sparks conversation and tangible. It all just has such good things to come back to.
Yes. And honestly, like the more top of mind, the more top of mind. Like the more you can give a gift that someone is going to use in their daily life, whether your logo is on that gift or not. And also your logo can be on it small, but the more they're using it, they are going to naturally think about you. So if someone does ask, even at a random pass, if they're not asking about the gift itself and they're just like, I'm getting married, like you're going to be so top of mind if you haven't allowed them to leave your, like if haven't allowed them to let you leave their mind, because like they're grabbing that tumbler you gave them every day or using that cutting board every night. So like there really is so much psychology behind this, which I find fascinating as a fan of the brain.
Yeah, it's very fascinating. Which one of my services, because I'm all about doing gifts around Christmas and holidays, but definitely all year round. But one of my services that I have is called the Gifting Gram, where it's like bubble mailers, but they're all inspired by like what season or like what's going on in that month. But then the fun part is it's all the same items, but then all the the business owners that I work with who use it. At one point, I had 7 different business owners. They had the same products, but then they can add their logo to the card, their own messaging, and I like sign it from them. But it's just fun of kind of like one theme was squeeze the day, and it was in August, so kind of like squeeze the most out of summer, and it had like lemonade and like sweet and sour, so like Sour Patch Kids. So it's kind of like how can business owners use this to their messaging so it works. And like the wedding, like she had her own message to be like, oh, squeeze the most out of this like season, here are fun like date ideas to still date while you're planning your wedding. Or like one was a social media agency where she was like, oh, here's to squeeze the most out of this time, or like how can we make the most if something goes bad, how do we make it sweet? So it's been really fun of like those themes and just sending it every month, and how that helps so much with top of mind. And it works really well for realtors because they thrive on like pop-in, pop-by gifts or marketing elements, just trying to get more people who want to buy or sell houses. So it's really neat how gifts can truly be a strategy for so many different industries.
Is there anything that you would say like where most people go wrong when it comes to gifting?
Well, I think if you overbrand something where it's like everything in the gift has your logo on it and it's just solely about, here's me, now I'm in a box, there you go, thanks for your business. I feel like, does that genuinely communicate that you're thankful if it's just kind of all feels like just marketing where like not all of it might be useful? I have one client where they do really like putting their logo on everything, which I think just works like they feel like they really want to do it. So I'm not going to say, no, I'm not going to put your logo on that. But I try to think it's actually an insurance company, which there's so many of those. So it kind of makes sense that they want to use, and they did like use the gifts to differentiate themselves. And then I was like, okay, if someone's buying car insurance, like what is a gift that you can give them to say thank you? Like, what does an insurance agent do? So I was like, how about those like safety items where it like could rip your seatbelt or smash a window? Because then it has his logo on it. It's something very useful that will stay in the car. So it's like a sitting marketing for him, but also useful and adds a level of safety. So it's just kind of neat of kind of like, well, I guess I kind of didn't fully answer the question because that about just like the overly branding where it's gift. But in this case, it was very intentional, even though it had a brand, like it's still useful. But I think sometimes people can miss the mark with gifting if if it's too branded and it doesn't really feel like a gift. Or I feel like the opposite of that, if you make it more personalized and make them feel like, oh, they only sent it to me, or maybe you sent it to 50 people, but if they feel like it's only them, then win-win.
Absolutely. It's less of like, sure, I'll send you another pen. Like, everyone has a zillion pens, even if it has your logo on it, like that example of the insurance broker with the safety thing. It's still like the care behind that, because it's not just like, yeah, here's a piece of paper with my logo on it. Thanks so much for buying insurance for me. And people are like, you're welcome. And they'll add it to a pile somewhere. It's like something really useful. So I like that.
Where like I have insurance, this other person that I have insurance from, he kind of has this system where it sends out automatic birthday cards, but you can tell that it's like so automated and like not personalized or not like from him. Like I don't even open them. So I'm like, but it's the other side of like same insurance company, but it's like, well, this has something very useful. And like, I feel like that type of safety item, a lot of people wouldn't buy it for themselves, but if you're gifted it, then it's like, now I have it, now I'm safe. But like in Brooke, in your case, if you don't even have a car, you wouldn't need car insurance, so they wouldn't have to send that to you. So I feel like just also sending gifts that are relevant to the situation of like what's happening is helpful.
100%. And I can even say from like the brand design point of view of like, it's so easy to want to over brand everything because it's so exciting and you're so proud of your brand and it's so fun to see your logo on something. I never get tired of it. But you said it perfectly. That gift is about you. It's not about them. And at the end of the day, gifting should always be about making that person feel so special and so valued because you're gifting them as a thank you. That's always typically what it is. So I absolutely love that. And I think there's a lot of fun conversation that can happen and just thoughts and ideas and creativity that can happen around creating gifts that maybe aren't over branded, but still speak to your brand experience in a different way. So the car insurance person, like by nature, him selling insurance, like a value of that is safety for you. So like the safety related gift is so true to a value in that. So like there are other ways to present or represent your brand strategy / your brand visuals / your brand experience that aren't just your logo. And that's the power of branding. And that's where I have so much fun chatting. And it just goes so well with gifts because the opportunity for creativity is truly endless.
One time for Christmas, like 3 years ago, I was working with a bookkeeper and she was like, I don't want to put my brand on everything, but I want to, I was like, well, let's include your colors. But then she was like, but they're pink and gold and I have male clients and they're probably not going to like that. And that's when she was like, it's too complicated because they all need something different. And I was like, all right, let's talk about each person. What do they need? What do you want? How much money do you want to spend on this client versus other clients? Because that also from a business perspective has a big aspect of like the investment that you're spending on them could come from like what have they brought to your business, because that helps in all the things. And it's probably one of my favorite conversations, was like, okay, so what's something intangible that you provide for your clients? Because like when we're being bookkeeping, it's not really producing in something tangible that you see other than maybe like an organized P&L statement or just kind of like ready for tax season. And she was like, I feel like I give them a lot of peace. And I was like, wonderful. Which peace, like who doesn't love peace? Like having peace of mind is priceless. And especially if it's like down to your numbers and like such an important aspect of business. And I was like, well, how can we incorporate peace? So I ended up designing an ornament that was in her colors, but it said peace on it. So then it like doubled as something to put on a tree. It's in her colors, but it doesn't have her logo, but it just kind of like, this is what I'm bringing to you. So it was just a really fun, how can we make it branded, but not branded, but festive, but personal? I really enjoy consultation conversations just because it does bring out thoughts like that. And I feel like I've had such nice comments from people where they're like, your questions make me a better business owner because it makes me think of things I would have never thought about. Like, oh, having an onboarding questionnaire for employees or team members is so helpful because that's just like a good pinpoint time to find out their favorite snack or drink or what they're allergic to or what their favorite scent is, because then you can use those strategically to then enhance their experience that they have working with you.
I adore that, especially when it comes to like the male point of view, right? You're like, no, I don't want something that's pink for a man. But if it's an ornament that's beautiful that he can think of her every year when it goes on the tree and he's doing the tree with his family, that could even spark a conversation of like, where did this come from? And whatever. I think that's really, really cool. Kelsey, that's an amazing idea.
Thank you.
It's like a happy medium. It's like a gift. And then also like it will keep giving every single year simply. So I love that. Peace also is completely, you can't buy that. So that's a really important just thing to note in general. Like even like when I think of our bookkeeper, I think also peace because I don't want to do that with a 10-foot pole. And our bookkeeper, we love her. She's also been on the podcast and she's amazing. But yeah, she like, there are days, even yesterday, I was like, oh, random question. I'll just email her and be like, random question. And bless her heart, she'll help me because I'm like, I can't figure this out. Like it's totally out of my scope. And she brings me peace because I know she will figure it out, which is really important. So pivoting a little bit, obviously you're a gifter, but we want to hear a little bit more about just like you as a human. Okay.
What?
And
Me?
you're like, who, me? No, I'm an elf. We obviously know that you're doing it all the time and you're homeschooling and there's so much happening over there. Can you give us like a typical day in the life? Like from the second your eyes wake up in the morning to you going to bed, what does that look like for you?
Oof. That's funny you asked that today because literally today I was like, I wonder if I should ever do a day in the life video. And I was like, I would be terrible at making this because like setting it up to like film and record and then like get it out of the. It's like, I don't think it would work very well. But
Brooke is the queen of this. Like you need advice. Brooke is the one.
Because I suck at well, actually, I'm taking that back. I don't suck at remember take clips. I'm good at it now. I suck at like going to set my phone up at perfect angles though. Like my day in the lives are very like, I have a can of Bloom Shirley Temple. You best believe my phone's going to lean against it at one point for me to take a quick clip of me recording this podcast. And that's all she wrote. The people who do the fancy, like set it up across the room and all those kinds of stuff. I'm like, that's so cool for you. I can't do it. So you can totally do it. You can totally do it. Just make it easy.
I've tried little things. Like the other day, I was shopping in a store, which I normally don't go to stores that often just because life doesn't, in all the timing and calendar windows, it rarely fits unless I like have to do it. So I was like, I should record while I'm here and be like, you don't want to be this person, do you? And I was thinking like, oh, right. So I always try to think of like content in that case, like, look how crowded it is, or like how many, like this pile of things you then have to sort through. And I was like, let me simplify it for it. It's like, that could be a good video. But I was like, that could also work in day of the life of.
Yes. Reuse the clips. Use them over and over. They can be used in different things.
Yeah.
And also, people are just fascinated by people's life. Like, they really are. Like, I would love to see more content, and I've already seen it from you, but more content of you and your littles packing boxes. Like, I think that's the cutest thing. And it just shows that, like, motherly love and that special touch that you do in your gifting. That is something that, as a human, I'd want to see. Like, that's a big part of your business and your life. And I just think it's adorable.
Which also I think that could add to the entertaining element because like I don't feel like I post funny or like entertaining. Like I'll probably do more like educational, like this is why gifts are helpful in your business. But one time I was packing boxes for a healthcare client, so they are kind of along the lines like, oh, we're here to partner alongside you. Insurance stuff doesn't need to be stressful. So they had these stress balls with their logo on it, and I think stress balls are usually like, who wants a stress ball? But these ones, they had sent me branded ones, like their own products, which is also an option where like if people are product based and they want to include something that they already have, they can send it to me and I'll put it in the boxes for them. So I had this box and they were like amazing stress balls where I was like, wow, I feel so less stressed. But so my older daughter, she was so cute. She was like carefully putting one in each box. And then my cute little, at that time, she was 2. She was like, kind of like wanted to help. So she has a box of them and she like dumps 10 in one box.
Makes total sense.
Starts laughing at us. Be kind, she's just trying to help. But it was so funny, a difference of like the different levels of elf help. It's very different. But also entertaining.
We can do this faster. Just dump the box. It's fine.
I was like, why are you doing one at a time? That's so slow. Let me show you how to do it.
So cute.
So those are the moments that like people on the other side of the screen, like everyone loves to see that. Like the perfect days in the life where like everyone's day is just like perfectly routined in their smoothie. Like everything's perfect. It feels too perfect. Like I love seeing the flubs and the mess ups and the stumbles and like the little silly moments of like my kid just dumped 20 balls in this box. Great. I have to clean that up. But like also it's not that serious and that's real life. So like, I don't know. I love those day in the life moments.
And also, we don't want to pressure you to put your children online if you don't want to do that. Also, like I don't have my own children and I say all the time, if I did, I probably wouldn't. I'd be like that parent that has like hearts over their face. So if you're like, Kelly, I've decided I'm not doing this, also fair. but just a part of it because I know you've done it in the past.
Yeah. I think that's also why I've hesitated, like, oh, do day in the life, because they're a huge part of my life every day. So I'm just like, I'm very mindful of how much I share them online and in the world. Like sometimes I'll be like, oh, I could put it on like a story because then it will go away after a short amount of time. But it's funny because my older one like wants to be in videos and I'm like trying to hold it away from her. So that's an interesting balance of how do I show that they're a big part of my life without like showing them.
Yeah, not to get like too granular on it, but I have all these ideas now. Like there are ways that like if you're packing boxes, you could just like from the above, like just get like their little hands, putting something in a box. Like that would be adorable. And it kind of shows all the above that they're helping
Which
you.
actually on one of the pages of my gift guide this year is like, oh, we can't wait to pack boxes for you. So there's like a picture of me packing a box and there is one of the little tiny hands packing a box.
Yeah.
So
Perfect.
but you'll have to look at the gift guide to see which page it's on.
There we go.
Go on a scavenger hunt,
In
everybody.
the show notes, guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
so-
it's fun. So I have tried that too. Of kind of like, how can I show that she is like that they are a part of it? So, but it is cute. Like little hands just make it adorable, and they'll probably look more elf-like.
Exactly. Who's gonna know they're not yours?
Yeah.
So cute. So do you have a typical day in the life or is it just kind of different depending on the orders and the schooling and all of that stuff?
Yeah, it's like there's certain the whole thing of like having a village around you, so true. So I feel like certain days of the week I'm like, okay, this day someone else is teaching her art. Another day someone else is teaching her Spanish. Another day we have these like places that she can go and I'm probably more excited about it than she is, but she has 2 in-person classes that she takes a week with other homeschoolers. But one of them is called Kid Entrepreneur. So every time I'm like, what did you learn today? And she's like, about like having a location and an address. She's like, we made a pretend pet shop. And I was like, oh, well, how are people going to find you? Like, what do you have at this pet shop? And she's like, we do grooming. And I was like, oh, that's so smart. And I was like, so do you sell things like animals? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, do you sell elephants? And she just started laughing and she was like,
It's silly.
so it's very fun. And like she has to do a project at the end of the semester to like sell things. And so that it's very fun. So yeah, so there's different people involved, which is very helpful because then that gives me little pockets of time. And so yeah, I try to have those are kind of like the staple. And then in between there, I know certain windows that I can plan meetings where I have like planned help because I have like a set babysitter that comes certain hours a week. So that gives me windows. So no one day is ever the same. And then, yeah, so like I also do event planning. So like currently working on a Halloween themed event, which you two would probably be so excited about. So that like integrates other needs from me that's not gifting related. So yeah, maybe that's also why I don't do day in the life because it's so scattered and like all over. But this morning after I straightened my hair, I was like, oh, I was making pancakes and I was like, oh, there's a part of today's life. So very different than what'll happen tomorrow.
And Brooke has even told me, like, when it comes to that type of video, you don't have to do your full day either. It could just be like the first couple hours. And maybe the girls aren't even up yet. It's like, what do you do for yourself before everyone else is awake or whatever it is? That could be something that's special too.
Yeah, like your 6 to 9 before your 9 to 6. I post those on TikTok. Like I split up to make recording easier. I'll typically kind of split my days in the sense of like I may have 3 days a week that I like to record for this type of content, but it'll be if I film for an entire day. Out of that day, I could get my 6 to 9 before my 9 to 6, a working day in the life, and a 6 to 9 after my 9 to 6, like an evening, like if I did something interesting. And that's 3 videos in 1 day of filming versus trying to make that 1 video with an extra long day in the life. One, that video ends up being physically too long. No one watches the full 3 minutes of that. And you get content if you split it up. So there's a lot of ways you can definitely play with day in the life content to bring people on your journey and let them kind of see behind the scenes because that type of content does so well these days.
I think that could be fun because I have been known, my husband makes fun of me a lot about it because I'll like down and chase mailmen be like, take this gift. Because if it's kind of like, if the post office already closed, but I know that like my mail lady, she comes like later in the day, but I was like, but if she's off and someone else doesn't take the gift, because sometimes they'll take them from my house, I will go get in my car and like drive around looking down streets. And one time I actually recorded it and I was like, this would be kind of funny content because who else would think like I go go to the length to make sure that your gifts get out on time by chasing mailmen down the street and driving. And then and then there's one parking spot I always know, like, okay, around 6:30, this particular one, like he's usually taking a break and he's almost done with his day. And then I'll be like, can you take this? And they're just like, okay.
There's Kelsey again.
Is that crazy gift lady? But I try to make up for it. So like around the holidays, I'll type that will be like, oh, thank you to all the delivery drivers, and have a little like basket of treats, because I keep them very busy, from like receiving product to then making it pretty and then shipping it out. And so it's fun to add that level of appreciation. But also my little elves will be like, Amy's here, like our mail. And so if I'm like finishing up a label, so that'll be like, go talk to her installer for 5 seconds. So we make a good team. It's fun though.
That's wonderful.
Be a critical day in the life. And then you're also infusing your business into that entire day in life, because if someone starts to become obsessed with you and what you're doing and watching your day, they are going to ask the question, well, what do you do? Oh, wait, I could use that service. You know what I mean? Like, it's the perfect subliminal promotion. It's really not even subliminal. It's very forward promotion that doesn't feel like promotion for your business.
Yeah, which I think that part's really fun about my business, is I can talk about it where it doesn't really feel like, here, I'm going to do my sales pitch. Like I was at a birthday party for one of my daughter's friends, and I just started talking to a mom, and it like just came up. Like, what do you do? So, and it just turns out that she was like, oh, I send gifts to my clients because I'm a financial advisor, but I'm running out of ideas and it takes up too much time to do it. I need help. And I was like, so nice to meet you at this birthday party. So
Totally. You're like, perfect. Okay, great. Amazing.
I know. So it's fun integrating it into like, who does marketing promotional at a birthday party? Usually people don't do it on purpose, but that's what I do. It's where I thrive.
I love it. Is there something that you have learned about yourself in the journey of juggling it all and driving kids here, there, and everywhere and blocking your calendar for me? Like, is there something you've really learned of like, okay, Kelsey, you're amazing?
Sometimes I am kind of like surprised, like, oh, I can handle a lot. Or kind of I'll be like, look back on the day of like, I did a lot. So I feel like also like, a lot of people won't give you like, oh, a good job, pat on the back for doing a lot of things. But a lot of times I'm like, I know that I did a lot. So like, I should feel good about how much I got done. And I also feel like that was really good. It's just like the moments to remind myself of like being intentional with time, because it does fly by so fast. And I feel like it's just with the time of even like, don't scroll on Instagram, but kind of be like, I could be using this time to fill in the blank. So I feel like just when I have those little like reminders to be intentional, then I'm just like, I can get even more done. And like, it's time well spent. So if someone's just like, what'd you do today? It's like something of like, this is what I did.
Time management, really. It's just like knowing like how to like, I should, instead of spending my time doom scrolling on this, which we've all been guilty of at one time or another. And sometimes you need a good doom scroll. How else do you find the funny content on TikTok? But like truly like learning time management is a huge, huge skill. One that I am daily trying to get better at. So I love that.
Not always good at it, but I do try. Which that's kind of part of the effort. You got to try to do it, make it possible. It won't just happen for you.
Exactly. So I know that you have a really fun service that we touched on. We've touched on a couple things a couple times, but can you tell us about your Gifting Concierge Pass?
Yes, I would love to. So for the first time ever this year, in 2025, I have introduced a new thing called the Gifting Concierge Pass, which based on the title, I'm hoping that it will communicate to people like, oh, like if you think about, so side story, if you're in a hotel and like if the person at the front desk, they're like, oh, what should I do in the area? It's good. Like that person is usually very helpful. But if you go to the concierge, like special desk where they're like, well, you have to go see this hidden gem, or like, this is where like really fun to do, or go see a sunset at this time. It's like, that's where like kind of like you feel like you get the extra level of service, or like the insight, secret tips that are going to make your experience so much better. So that's what I'm hoping to convey through my Gifting Concierge Pass, is that for the holidays, it's for, like, if you are listening to this and think, oh, gifting's too complicated, I need help. But like, so the Gifting Concierge Pass is for you. Like if you're thinking you need 10 or more gifts, because part of the pass is you just get more attentive experience. Like I will take care of like more of the details and also just kind of making sure that it's done. And one of the perks of the gifting concierge pass is I created a holiday playbook, which includes different things of like templates of like ideas for what messages to say depending on who you're giving the gift to. It includes a budget tracker because you always want to like know how much money you're spending and like what you spent so that you know just the ROI of that. And then also a gift log of who you sent it to and what was included so that you don't repeat sending them the same thing if you're going to send them a gift later. So those are some of the fun gems inside the playbook, which is one of the perks if you purchase a gifting concierge pass. And this season, in light of all things like boundaries and just being like really good at what you're doing, I'm only working with 25 business owners just to make sure that I can deliver that concierge service to make sure that you feel like it's all taken care of and like truly genuinely take off that stress. Because all the things that Brooke was saying earlier, just like all the pinpoints of like even the shopping and the sourcing and like getting it, delivering it. And there's just so many things to track and keep track of. And like, who has packaging supplies in their house? Most people don't, but I do. Yeah, and just like the lug of like the pre, during, and app posts, it's a lot to keep track of on top of all the demands of being a business owner and like just like the Q4 into the year. So my goal is to really make it so that I can serve business owners really well by limiting it to 25 people and then just making sure that all their gifts are kind of have the details that they want again, so they're excited about what they're sending. So the concierge pass, it's your golden ticket to a stressful holiday season where you get the playbook included. It also will include weekly Q&A. So if people do have last minute questions they want to ask, or like if someone asks me a question and I think it would be helpful, I'd like for other people to learn about. So I'll include that there and just kind of more attention. I always give a lot of attention to all the gifts, but this way I also will create a Google sheet for your business where it has like different tabs of kind of like your address book, your gift, like also another different spot for your gift log, and just like another place to keep it organized, because the more like organized and systematized all things gifts can be, it just makes it less stressful and more streamlined. So many S words to make it simplified.
Totally. And stress-free.
Yes.
Okay, so it's like your regular gifting service, but literally just at a gold star concierge level. And I love the hotel analogy because it's the same. Like anyone can go to a hotel and then, just Google questions or ask the front desk. But like if you go to the concierge, it's a whole other level of service. And I like that it's called concierge. I think that's actually really brilliant.
And I feel like too, like just thinking like going to Seattle when I was there recently, I was like, ask Kelly, oh, where should I go for fill in the blank? It's also like feeling like you have a friend. Like if you go to a city and like instead of Googling it all, what if you ask your friend? So like I'm their friend in the gifting space where like I will give you like, oh, try this instead of this. And like I'll help make your money go further or like make it more branded where like I feel like some people have said like, oh, I just feel like I have a friend in doing this. I was like, you do. I want you to feel that way because I feel like that just makes the working relationship so much fun. And then ideally you trust the friend that's going to do a good job. So I want you to build that trust that you can be confident in the gifts that you are sending by having that concierge level service with gifts.
Absolutely. So what kind of thing, what does this cost?
Sounds like it costs a lot. It's $150, but people listening to this podcast, just as a thank you for the opportunity of being on the podcast and being able to be in your earbuds or just talking, I'm going to have a special code where you can get $50 off. So you have a special landing page where you can join and see. There's a chance that I may have reached my cap of number of business owners at the time of this being released, but that won't stop you. I will still gladly would love to work with you. But here's the not so scary part to tie it into Halloween. If you are interested in working together and getting this special promotion of like the Fuze discount, you have to book by the end of Halloween. So that way the thought of gifts don't have to be scary. And yeah, pun intended, to try to tie in the Halloween aspect. But that way it gives me time to work with you really close to make sure if you do want branded gifts that we can get them all sorted and organized before there's more delays and all that because of Thanksgiving.
And to clarify, they just have to book like the $150. purchase to make it official. They don't have to like decide on the gifts by the end of Halloween.
Correct. They just have to book it. And then in the show notes, you'll have a code, or you can just go to that, enter the code. It'll make it the price of $100. So save $50 for that. And here's the great part, which I think it will help make it even more of a no-brainer decision if you're on the fence. The $100 will go towards your gifting total. So like, let's say you decide all the gifts that you're going to do and your total is $500, but we'll take off $100. So really the $100, when you sign up by the end of Halloween, it's really just securing working together. You get the holiday playbook, you get the Google Excel spreadsheet with everything set up for you. And it's just a way to make it all in one place, simplified, stress-free. And then it also is ultimately at no additional cost because that $100 will go towards your gifts.
It's incredible.
That's incredible.
Easy peasy. People act fast.
Yeah.
Guaranteed this is going to book up. So that's incredible.
Oh, yes.
Thank you, Kelsey, for wanting to love on our listeners in that way. That's so special. Thank you.
Everything will be in the show notes for everyone, so it'll be quite easy to access.
Yeah, I'm very excited for who to work with and who I can help make not even their holiday season simplified, but also like just moving on. Like, do you want to implement gifts throughout the whole year and what that would look like and how it can truly help? So exciting. It's always a fun time.
Okay, so our final question, and admittedly one of my favorite questions that we ask in every podcast that we have a guest on. And then after, you'll be able to share all the things on where people can find you, because we want everyone to be able to continue the conversation with you. But
thank you.
You could go back and sit across from yourself before the start of this journey. So before Simplified Gifting, before motherhood, before being a concierge at a hotel or managing a hotel, before all of it, what would you tell her?
That's a very good question. That your journey of life will take you in a lot of directions, but don't lose sight of like what's truly important and your why of like, why are you doing things and like, why do you work harder? Like, why do you homeschool? And kind of like, no matter where your journey takes you, because it will have its ups and downs and highlights and joy, but also disappointments, but just to kind of like keep moving forward and kind of like use those hard things that will happen to you in life, because it's not an if, and just kind of like use that to make things better instead of letting it like keep you down. And I feel like just having that joy and a good perspective and like keep moving forward despite what happens and what direction you go in is a good focal point to keep you moving forward and like having the momentum to still do it.
I love that.
I hope younger Kelsey feels loved by that answer, and she knows that like she is going to continue to grow into the incredible woman you are today, and mother and business owner and wife and all things. So thank you so much for your time in this conversation with us today.
Thank you. I love it. It's always a great joy to talk to both of you. And I love your insight, even how both of you are like, oh, I have ideas for this. Oh, no, I have ideas for this. So I feel like you just are like such treasure chests of such good information inside. And so I just always appreciate you sharing that with me. And yeah, it's just so great. So thank you.
Thank you. And happy holidays to you. Happy holidays to everyone listening. Go get your gifts.
Yes. Please share with everyone where they can find you, your socials, all of the fun things.
So when I decided to name my business Simplified Gifting, I was like, what's a way that's easy to remember? It communicates what I do. Simplified Gifting. So simplifiedgifting.com on websites. And then at Simplified Gifting on all the socials, Instagram, Facebook. I am trying in the world of business and kind of like going where your client is and like your niche, and doing more on LinkedIn, which is just my name, Kelsey Krimmer, with my little like founder of Simplified Gifting and chief gifter, which I should change the title for these few months just to make it a little fun. Because while gifting isn't like a serious thing, but it does have serious impacts of using them well, I feel like it just does add such fun elements too and unique connection points. So yeah.
Well, thank you, Kelsey.
Thank you. So fun to chat with you. Yeah. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. We have new episodes coming out every Thursday, so we will catch you in one of the next ones.
And please take some time, follow us on @FindYourFuze or email us at info@findyourfuze.com for all inquiries and all exciting things that you want to chat with us about. We love building this community and we love you. Take some time and leave a review. Anything above 5 stars, we'd love it. But really, we appreciate you and we appreciate your feedback in any form, because the more feedback we can get, the better we'll get. Okay, love you. Bye.